Welcome to Papa Junk Shop. Well, the little Briggs that I just finished up, figured I needed it to do something. And it had a really nice unmolested shaft on it. And I've had this idea for quite some time that I wanted to put this magnetic rotor, which was on a motorbike, in this field coil, which I rewound for another purpose with heavier wire and more turns. At one point I had this rotor in this field on the back of a car alternator to use as an exciter for the car alternator, which I was planning on using as a windmill, but it didn't seem to perform the way I wanted, and I wound up with something better at the time. So I've had this for a while, and I thought it might be kind of nice to put it on an engine. So I started this project without you guys because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do it, but it looks like it's going to be doable. So this had a tapered shaft in it. I bored out the tapered part to 3/4, made a press fit bushing. It's pressed and Loctited in place, and then this is a 1/2 inch shaft. So I drilled and reamed this out to 1/2 inch, and then I broached a keyway in it. So I've gotten that far, and that fits on there. And with the keyway, and then I'm going to drill and tap the end of this shaft and put a bolt in there to hold it in place. And then this engine, if you remember, had a bracket bolted on here, so there's already a threaded spot here, and this is machined flat and square along with this surface here. So I think I can get a plate mounted here and here, and there's also a spot down here that I'll be able to drill and tap, but I'll have to make a spacer, a plate, and then I can mount this field coil on there. And that's going to be the fun part, because there isn't a whole lot of clearance there. Everything's going to have to be just right, so that part of it could be quite interesting. So at this point, I'm going to drill this out and tap it 1/4 20, and then I'm going to check and see how true my machine work was. That should be far enough. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's not terrible. 5 or 6 thousandths. I didn't really check the shaft either, but it just looked nice and true when it was running. Hey, I'll pull that off and take a look. Okay, this is the engine shaft. Pretty darn good. That's where the keyway is. Boy, this bugger's got good compression since I did that valve job. So whatever's off was my machine work. Of course, I held this in a chuck. I probably should have done it in a 4-jaw. I just used my 3-jaw, so. But I think we can work with it. Okay, I'm going to explain to you my redneck engineering ideas here. I made a center punch, I guess you could call it. 5/16 fine thread bolt, and I turned down so that it's got a little nub on it, like a center punch. And that's going to screw into this hole here. Like so. And then I got a piece of plate. And I'm going to drill a 1/2-inch hole in the plate. And then slide the plate up there. And then I'll hit it with a hammer and mark where that hole needs to go. I can drill that hole. And that should center the plate and the shaft. And then once I get that one in place, I'll go ahead and do the same with the one down here. And then once I get that done, this is 7/8, so I'll drill a 1/2-inch hole out to 7/8. And if it rubs, I could make it 15/16 or something a little bigger. So I'll have 2 bolts here. This will be centered on there. And then once I get that plate mounted, this will go in place. And I got 5 or 6 layers of masking tape on there, which makes this fit snug on there. So then I'll be able to locate my 3 holes on the plate that's mounted there. And I get everything just right, I should have proper clearances. And hopefully these 2 bolts will be enough to support it. If not, I could possibly get a support from the plate here over to this bolt that goes down through the oil sump, if I need some more support for that side of the plate. But there shouldn't be too much strain on this. All it's got to do is hold it in place from turning. There shouldn't be any other pressure on it. So I'm going to get working on them ideas. Who knows, this may be an exercise in how not to do it. Okay, I got my 1/2-inch hole. Throw a little marking die on there. And I'm going to put her up in place. And I'm just going to give it a little scratch. That'll help me identify for sure, in case there's any question about which one is the mark. And we'll give her a good smack. Right there she is. So that was 5/16. So I'll get a 5/16 hole drill there. Okay. See how we did. Yep. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same with this one down here. I'm going to have to drill and tap that and make a homemade center punch thingy. Get that one marked and drilled, and then we can deal with this center hole. Here, not push my lock. Okay, this is going to be 1/4 20, so number 7 drill. Yep. Okay, I'll get that tapped. Cast iron always taps nice. Okay, I'll swap this out for bottom tap. They got the threads that go all the way to the end. You can see this one is pretty tapered. So you get a couple more turns out of it. Okay, now I gotta make my center punch thingamabobber. Okay, I got the other homemade center punch thingy made and in place. Put her up there until this goes in. There's number 2. Right there. Go get her drilled. Okay, let's give her a whirl here. Now the bolt I pick's a little bit too long, but there we go. They're not tightened up. Got to get this hole enlarged, and then it should go back in place. I'll have to make a spacer for this bottom one because it's not out level with the other ones. But Aaron just said I need to come outside and take a look at the sun, so that smoke from the California, I guess it's not just California, it's the Northwest, Oregon and Washington and stuff, makes the sun red at night, so let's go take a look. Did I wait too long? It's gone?
Yeah, it's completely washed out.
Oh, it's all washed out.
Because of the smoke. You can just barely see it.
Yeah, I guess, well, I wasted you guys' time. You should have shut it off. Maybe I can edit it. Now that's a picture Aaron got on his phone, but I didn't get out here soon enough and it was on its way down before I got out here. But look at the color of that booger. Maybe we can get one tomorrow night. Okay, got the hole enlarged here. Wound up being 15/16. Everything clears. And I made a spacer for the bolt down here. And everything is really sturdy. I was really impressed. I don't think I'm going to need a brace over here. So the fact that this sticks out past the shoulder in the crankshaft, I'm going to turn the rotor around this way. This is 3/4. That's 15/16, so it'll clear. That way I don't have to make that hole any bigger, and I'd like to keep as much of this plate on there as I can so it holds its strength. So I think now I'm going to put this in place, and I'm going to just trace some, going to make some dotted lines around here about where it's going to wind up. And I'll mark this out with a set of dividers, or yeah, and I'll get that cut out. Then we won't have to deal with all this excess stuff, and then we can get spots marked where the holes are going to go to hold this in place. Okay, got the piece cut out on the bandsaw and touched it up on the belt sander. So I'm going to put some layout die on there, bolt it in place, and put the rotor and the coils on, and mark 3 holes to mount the coils. It'll be next. Okay, I got the plate bolted on the engine, and I got the die on there, and I've taken a punch. I have a lot of these punches. They were government surplus. I don't know, I probably got 20 or 30 of them. They come in handy when you got to modify something. So I turned it into a center punch because it just fits these holes just like a glove. So, and I'm using 2 other ones to hold the spacers that I made in place. And I've got it clamped in place with 3 C-clamps. And it turns and clears everything. So I am going to mark each one of them. Maybe. I'll have to take this one out. Try to get her one down here. I'll trade this one. And I'm debating on going by those marks or just finding the drill bit that fits really snug and marking it that way. Got them nice new drill bits. They should all be nice and centered and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and get that all marked. Well, I've got it marked, but I think I'll get the drill bit and do it that way too. I just want to mark it because they're going to be 1/4 20. And I got to use a number 7, so I don't want to only mark it. Okay, let's see what we got. I don't have to worry about losing the spacer. Magnet grabs them. Yep, got 3 nice marks. Okay, I'll take that off and do them with a number 7 and tap them 1/4 20. Okay, so it's another night. Ooh, that's touchy. And there goes the sun. And it's turning red again. All that from smoke. I didn't get much done today because I took the old bike out for a ride and had some stuff to do in town this morning and all that good stuff, so. Well, when you get zoomed that far away, the camera's touchy. Pretty neat. Doesn't have anything to do with the engine video, but thought you might enjoy it. Okay, let's go back in the garage. Okay, got the holes tapped, found some screws, put it together, and I'm not fibbing, first try. Oh, this thing's got good compression, everything clears. So I think I'm going to try starting it up, throw a meter on it and see what kind of voltage we get. Not sure how this is going to go. Got a lot of stuff on the bench. It'll probably be all falling off all over and rattling so bad you won't be able to hear me. I got my meter hooked up. Hasn't been run for a day. Got it choked. I got 15 volts just idling. About 50 hertz. Wire fell off. Try that again. There's 17. I didn't plan on making 120 with it anyways. I thought maybe of using it for battery charging. See what we got. I'm gonna slow it down, I think. find a 12 volt bulb and see what it does. Of course, that's AC. Wow, I'm gonna burn it out. That draws about almost 2 amps on 12 volts. Let me go find something bigger. Not sure what this bulb's out of, but I tried it on 12 volts and it draws about 3 amps on one and about 5 amps on the other filament. That made it work. So that would be, I'm not sure which, uh-oh. Might be running out of gas. Well, it's going to work anyways. Might try getting the rectifier and hooking on it and try some battery charging. But I'll do a little more tinkering, let you in on what I figure out. Okay, I got a car headlight hooked up. 12 volts. Full scale 6 amps. About 4.5 amps. And it's been running for probably 15 minutes that way. Just barely warm. Still experimenting. Not sure what I'm going to do. I've been playing with it for, pretty close to a half an hour. It's run. I went and got my jump box that has a little inverter built in. I put a 60 watt bulb in it and turned it on, and got a bridge rectifier here and hooked this up, and it'll charge 4.5 amps is all it'll do, no matter what. You speed the engine up and it doesn't make any difference. That's it. And I'm thinking that that's because of the amount of iron. And I think they do that on purpose so you can't burn the thing up. If you short the wires out, it just quits. So you couldn't burn the thing up. And 4.5 amps will keep the battery at about 12.2 volts with that 60 watt bulb running. So I guess with all these inefficiencies, it'll make 60 watts. This doesn't hardly even get warm. And the coils don't even feel as warm as the iron. I think I have some more original coils because I saved a few of these. And I'm going to go up and look and see if I can find them, and maybe I'll try putting one that hasn't been rewound and see what that one does just for the heck of it. But if you completely unload it, sitting there running unloaded, makes about 30 volts. And I did measure the engine, and it's running right around 1800 RPMs. So that's what I've learned so far. Hope you're enjoying it. Okay, I hope you'll be able to hear me. I went up and found one of those other coils, put it on. It's doing about 3.5 amps, same speed. So it doesn't do as well as my rewound one. It will, if I speed the engine up wide open, it will make about 5, but that's it. So mine works, my rewound one works better, I think, because I don't want the engine screaming. Around 1800 RPM seems nice. So I'm going to go with my rewound one. And still experimenting. I took the rectifier off and hooked up to a transformer. It's an old bell transformer. I think there's like 24 volts out. I hooked it up backwards, so I put 24 volts in and I get 120 volts out. I had to slow the engine down, and that's an LED bulb. But I run that 60 watt bulb with it too at the same speed that it was charging the 12 volt batteries, about 1800. But when I checked the voltage unloaded, it was like 186 or something. So I slowed it down, and I think I had 130 volts, and then when I screwed the bulb in, it went down to 118. And the ammeter is reading hardly anything. So, still haven't decided what I'm going to do. Hey, I found a different transformer. It says 20 volts in, 120 out. So I was able to slow it down a little bit more. It's sort of like a fast idle. I don't think you want to run them too much slower than that, or you won't get good lubrication and airflow. So that might be, maybe I'll make this so I can put a switch on it and do battery charging or 120 volts if you want to run some lights or something really little, I guess. But you're going to have to adjust the speed, so it probably has to be a constant load. Because there's no governor on this thing. And the air vane governors didn't work too well for generator service anyway. So I think maybe I'll think about doing the 12 volt, 120 volt combo. Okay, I think I come up with a combination I'm going to use. Picked a different transformer, and I found a nice thick fat muffler. It makes it really quiet. That's not the final plumbing, but just trying it out. It's been running for about 45 minutes, and running a fluorescent bulb using about 2¼ amps. I wound up with a 12 volt transformer. It's running nice and cool. This is cool. And I found the voltmeter. It's 120 volts. And it's running about 1300 RPM. So I think that's going to be the final configuration. Now all I got to do is figure out how to get it all arranged and mounted on something. See you in a bit. Now I found a little piece of channel iron that was used for something else. It's got lots of ventilation holes in it. Just threw some paint on it. And I also made a little control panel, dashboard, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to use a different meter than the one I just showed for the voltmeter, because that one was so large. So amp meter over here for the 12 volt section, voltmeter for the 120 volt, AC plug-in in a place for a switch to switch it from the AC to the DC. So while that's drying, I'm changing my oil in the truck. I had the 5S tore apart. Thought I'd throw it on the test stand just for the fun of it and see what it'll do. My load bank will only go down to like 2 amps and it won't run that. So about 100 watt bulb is about all she'll do when you get all that friction with the belt and everything. That's wide open. get 60 watts out of it with my permanent magnet one and all my rigging. So just thought I'd give it a try and show you what I found. Okay, got some reassembly done, some wiring done, and got the meters mounted, the outlet mounted. Now I gotta hook all the wires up and fasten it in place. And what I've got is a double pull, double throw switch. One position will be for the DC, the other position will be for the AC, and the coil wires are going to plug in here. I made it so I could unplug it, and the AC goes to the switch, and then when it's on DC it sends it to the bridge rectifier over here, and then these two wires will go to the ammeter, and when it's on the AC side it'll go to the well, now it's the primary, which is the 12 volt side of the transformer, and then the AC is going to come out here, and the AC will go to these two wires that go to the the voltmeter, and two wires to the AC outlet, and then this will be grounded. So I'm going to go ahead and get all that stuff done. Okay, got her stuck together. Running 60 watt rough service 130 volt bulb, about 115 volts, and I got a little battery hooked up there. I flip it to there, it's charging about 3 amps on that battery. So I gotta find an air cleaner. But other than that, I think we're pretty well done. I'm gonna let her run for a bit, make sure everything's alright. Okay, if I put a 60 watt equivalent LED, I think they're what, 8 or 9 watts, I can slow it down that much, just above an idle. See that or not, I have to cover the light. About 115, 20 volts. And if I put it on the battery, it charges about an amp. Okay, just for the fun of it, I hooked my kilowatt meter up. So we got 122 volts. 0.2 amps, 19 watts, 63 hertz. It's running right around 1200 RPM, between 12 and 13. Kind of hard to tell on the mechanical pack. So, pretty neat, I guess. Power factor is 0.8. 122, 121. So it stays pretty steady. I'm pretty happy. Found an air cleaner for it. Set this light down. I'll take her out tonight and see what she looks like in the dark, just for the fun of it. maybe I'll see you then. Hey, it's getting pretty dark. I'm gonna fire it up and try them light bulbs at night just for the fun of it. You guys probably can't see a whole lot, but I'm gonna start her up. Guess I better choke it. Oh, my knot come out of the end of the rope. Always happens when you got the camera on. Can't throw it out other times. Warm up a minute here. That's a bigger fluorescent bulb. That's a 45 water. I don't think it's warmed up. It's not quite running quite as fast as it should. Give it a minute, see if it smooths out, warms up. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I put a bracket on here to hold the battery cable. There, we're about 120 volts. I just had to play with the carburetor adjustment a little bit. Uh-oh. Well, I shouldn't have messed with the carburetor. I should have just let it warm up a little bit before I loaded it up. I restarted it and let it run for a couple of minutes. It warmed up and smoothed right out after I put the carburetor back where it needed to be. So that's a 150 watt equivalent compact fluorescent. I think it uses 45 watts. It makes quite a bit of light. See what happens when we add in the 20, I think this one uses 23 watts. Yeah, don't like that. Quite a difference. Mr. Boots come out to see what was going on. They don't want to miss anything, you know. Okay guys, guess I'll call this one a wrap. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe. See you next time.